1, 2, 1, 2. Guys, let me know if you can hear me now. Let me know. Let me know. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, I think it's working. I think it's working. Okay, sorry guys. I bought a new computer. Okay, I bought a new computer, so there's some properties they went away, and I had to fix it as we go. So I apologize for this delay. Thank you guys for waiting. And okay, let's start from the beginning. And I think this topic is really important, guys. It's really important. And why is it important? Because those of you who are from India, some of you from China, and maybe other countries that have a huge backlog on EB-2 and EB-3, and you are on H-1B, and let's face it, Indians are #1 nation that get the H-1B visas. Okay, like the U.S. companies import Indians in numbers, in bulk. Okay, and of course they say we're gonna file EB-2, EB-3 for you once you work a few years, and we're ready to sponsor you for the green card. And of course it's great, it's a great news, but because the wait time could be 12, 15, and Lord knows in 10 years it could regress, and maybe it's 20 years, right? Nobody wants to wait. Nobody wants to wait. So and if you do nothing, guys, if you do nothing, you're gonna get stuck forever. Okay, and you will not have that liberty, that freedom of the action. All right, even in a small sector of your life, the work. If you cannot do what you want, that's a big problem. That's a big problem. So you are in the limbo and being stuck with H-1B. Yes, you have an approval for EB-2 or EB-3, or you're thinking about getting approval for EB-2 or EB-3, and you're from one of those countries that have the huge backlog. And if you're gonna stick to the strategy, it's going nowhere. Okay, it's just not it's going nowhere, and you know it's like it's almost a misery to be stuck in this situation. You kind of have the way out, but it's so far remote, it's so further away from you that it's almost non-existent. Okay, so what is the way out from this? Okay, what we need to do to address this issue? So there are a few ways, but I'm gonna discuss only one where everything is under your control. Okay, there's only one way out where it's you who control the situation, and that way out is called EB-1A. Okay, EB-1A. If you guys never heard those letters and numbers before, you need to memorize that and do your research. Okay, and I have a lot of materials, a lot of content, YouTube videos, Instagram posts that address this issue. Okay, the issues of EB-1A, how to get that visa. I'm going to address this today, but for me it's important for you guys to get the concept. Okay, to get the concept. The details will come later when you start digging deep in this issue. So why EB-1A is the only way out of this whole situation? Because this is the only visa outside of EB-2 and IW, which, like we mentioned, is not going to do the work for you. Okay, like today I had an Indian client on a complex immigration planning, and he's on H-1B, and he's like, Stanislav, I want to get the EB-2 and IW. And I said, look, you have a perfect case for EB-2 and IW, and I will get you approved in 6 months. But what is it gonna do to you? You signing up to get in the line for 15 years, maybe more, because we're gonna get the regression in the summer. That's what USCIS told us, okay? We're gonna get the regression, and the regression is gonna affect everybody. Indians, non-Indians, Chinese, non-Chinese, everybody, okay? Because the regression is one and for everybody. So we don't know what's going to be in 10 years. Maybe we have a huge regression with another 10 years on top of whatever we had. So that's, I will never wish that to my worst enemy. Thank God I don't have enemies, okay? But if I had, I wouldn't wish it for them, because that's the worst you can do. So outside of EB-2 and IW, EB-1A, the talent visa, is the only solution for you guys to get your green card really fast compared to other visas, okay? Because really fast, if I say you'll get your approval, you get your green card in a year, provided you have your EB-2 approved anytime before April 2021, okay? A year is super fast. It's like inter-galaxy travel in the immigration field. So that's very fast. Why? Again, what are other reasons where EB-1A is the #1 solution? Because first of all, you guys don't have to have an employer. You may have an employer, but you're not required to have an employer. And when you don't have an employer, you do not have to rely on anybody else. All you have to rely on is your own achievements, your own recognition, your own work, your skills, your education, and working on your case to improve it. Okay? So that's what you need to rely. And when you have to rely on those things, you are the one in control, okay? You don't have to have an Uncle Ben telling you what to do. You're the one to tell yourself. So no other visa, maybe except EB-5 with a passive investment or active investment, but you have to have a capital of $1 million. I don't know if you guys have that much money, or if you do, if you could put it in a visa, in the EB-5 program. That's another issue. So I would assume that the overwhelming majority of people don't have that much money that could be used for this program. Okay, two things need to happen. So outside of this program and outside of getting married to an American, a lot of you guys are already married, and it's not a secret that those who are affected the most, the Indians and Chinese, you guys like to stick to the spouses of the same nationality. All right? And it's just a fact. I don't judge that. Russians do the same. Everybody's doing the same. So we are stuck. We're stuck with this. EB-1A is the only way to go. And it shouldn't sound to you that it's a daunting thing. Like, oh my God, Stanislav, I'm not talented. Only I could tell you if you're talented or not. Okay? And some of you guys are like, oh, Stanislav, I'm so talented. I mean, let's go. Let's go. I know we're gonna do this. That's the small part of you. But the majority of you like, I'm just doing my work. I'm just doing what I'm good at. I'm a good professional. So you guys, do not forget my best mantra. Let's repeat the mantra all together. Okay? All together. Any good professional in the field, whatever that field is, can get the EB-1A approved. or sometimes I say a talent visa, because EB-2 in IW is also a talent visa. Okay, but not for today's stream. So any good professional in the field can get a green card. Okay, so if you're a good professional, without knowing, you probably satisfy at least 3 criteria. Okay, at least 3 criteria. What are those criteria? The critical leading role in a company with distinguished reputation. Okay, why? Because you guys working on H-1B in the companies who can afford H-1B for the company. That means it's a larger project. It's some company that has the resources, it has the reputation, it has big clients, it's doing big things. Okay, so most of you, the overwhelming majority of you on H-1B have the critical, or maybe some of you leading role. Okay, the difference between critical and leading role is the critical role for the function, important function in the company or in the department. And leading role is when you direct and control other people. Okay, sometimes it's a hybrid. Sometimes you used to have a critical role, now you got a promotion, you have a leading role. So you may have 2 or something in between. Okay, so I would say almost all of you have that. Second of all, because you worked in a company sometimes for a little bit, because most of you already have EB-2 approved, that means you at least worked probably 3 years for them. Or maybe less if it's a different company, maybe less. But most of you are in the level of the income that puts you in a top percentile of the income earners in this specific profession. Okay? For example, the cybersecurity professional in Texas, and I remember because it's fresh from the previous complex immigration planning. The average for such a specialist is $127,000. Okay, so if your salary is 150, probably 160 plus, and that's usually the case, probably around $200,000. You are making significantly more than an average professional in your industry in Texas. Sometimes it could be Dallas or Houston or Austin. Even we go deeper in that, okay? So these are 2 criteria, right? These are 2 criteria. Then the third one that most of you have without even knowing it is the contribution in the field. And you will be like, oh God, I have not done anything for the industry that I may think is significant. But that's not how we look at the contribution in the field, guys. Yes, it must be significant, and yes, it must be original, innovative. But because you're working in those companies, and let me mention a few. Visa, Amazon, Google, Facebook, you name it. You guys name those companies. All the big companies, because like I said before, they can afford people coming to the project on H-1Bs. That means they can afford attorneys, they probably have legal department, they have good income. That means they're working on important projects. Okay? They're working on important projects that are used in the industry. So if you are the one to work on those projects, you guys are part of the contribution in the industry through your work. Okay? For example, you are, and again, cybersecurity specialist, just because it's so fresh in my memory. It's just been like half an hour ago. If you're helping to create a code for the solutions of the company that you're working for that's being used in the industry with other businesses. Guess what? You made the contribution in the field through your work. If you help those companies to mitigate the risks, the leak of the information, the vulnerabilities in the systems, guess what? This is a contribution in the field. Because if those companies use those products and use those codes that you wrote, or if you led the team who worked on those projects, which would be a leading role, right, in your company, but also is a significant contribution in the field of your work. Okay? You guys have a contribution in the field. And if you work in a few companies, big companies, you may have a few contributions in the field. Okay? Another example, you worked in a bank, JP Morgan. Use any other bank. And you coded the API for analytics of the new credit applications to the bank. So you created the ecosystem, or you were one of the people who created the ecosystem in the bank that's, when used in the industry, it shortens, it makes it faster for the bank to approve the petitions, the applications for the credit, for loan, for the mortgage, because the neural network, the AI, or whatever the program that you created, makes the work faster and better than a human. And if it's a big bank, they have a lot of clients. They basically are part of the industry. So you also contributed in the industry through writing a code for API for a bank. And also it's a critical leading role. Okay? So those are 3 criteria. Now, often we have the 4th criteria without you guys realizing it. So 3 we have most of the time for you guys on H-1B from India or China. The country is most affected. Okay? If you're from a different country, this applies to you too, guys, because you're just gonna get your green card much faster than anybody else. Okay? So the 4th one that you usually have without realization of it is the judging of work of other professionals. And why you guys don't know about it? Because the way most of you see that criterion as when you being called as a judge, as a juror, to the competition in the field, hackathon, business data analytics competition, engineers competition, whatever that is, whatever you have. And you assess people who compete for the prize. That's what judging is in the heads of many of you. And this is true, it is a judging, but there are alternative ways how we can satisfy this criteria. And you guys buckle up, because most of you is probably gonna be looking at 4 criteria, at 4 criteria as of right now. So if you are in those companies working, doing your work, but a part of your work requires looking at the work of your colleagues or other people working in the company that provide their work to you as a part of your work on which you have to build. Okay? Or if you come to the company and for you to start doing your work properly, you have to assess what's been done before. That's more like a senior position, right? More a higher. But you could grow to this position. So you have to look at what other professionals done. And let's go back to the example of a cybersecurity specialist. You come to Visa Inc. and they hire you as a cybersecurity specialist and say, hey, John, we have problems in this project. Can you please take a look? That's your first project. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna go to this project and assess the architecture and the design of the cybersecurity in that project. Whatever someone has done before to protect the data. Okay? So guess what? You are assessing the work of other professionals. And yes, this is an alternative view how we're gonna satisfy this criteria. All right? So, for some of you guys, this is like the universe. You're like, oh my God, I have like 4 criteria based on what Stanislav said. And this is true. Overwhelming majority of you has 3, and some of you have 4, some of you have more, okay? If you speaking at conferences or you participated in competitions and you got some prize, that's the 5th criterion, the awards, okay? And guys, let me tell you, even if you didn't get to the 5th one, you're only at 3 or 4, guess what? We can always add 2 criteria, the press and the scientific articles. And you'd be like, oh God, how am I gonna make a journalist write an article about me and my projects? This is impossible, Stanislav. What are you talking about? That's why, guys, PR agencies exist. Okay? There are companies who exist to help you with this difficulty. Okay? And we know those companies. We work with them. And they can help you with your press and your academic articles within the 6 months of you working on your case. Because that's how long you're going to be working on your case with myself and my team. Okay? 5 months out of which we will be strengthening your petition through press, articles, and maybe some other things. And you will be describing your achievements, your recognition. Sometimes we do it for you if you're ready to be more financially responsible for your case. Okay, depending which offer you purchase with my company. So that is the only way, realistic way. Okay, and I know some of you like Stanislav, asylum. We can file for asylum. We can maybe try to do EB-1B, and Lord knows, maybe you become a priest and we'll file EB-4 for you, right? With a religious visa. But all those other things, you either have to make things up, which is illegal, by the way, or you have to rely on someone else. So you put yourself in the hands of people you don't control. And guys, we know that we control only one thing in this world. Okay? Only one thing. That's our response to the events. Okay? Our own actions, our own thoughts, feelings, responses, and emotion. That's all we can control. So that's EB-1A. Okay? That's the only visa where your control is within yourself. You're the one who can start the process. You don't have to have someone from your company saying yes to this. You're the one. You don't have to let anybody know in your company when you have your EB-2 approved that you started your process with EB-1A. Granted, they will need to sign a letter for you. So it's up to you if at that time you want to mention that that's the letter for another immigrant petition, which is not going to affect them in no way. No effect on them. You still keep working for them, and then it's a matter of the future if you want to continue. Okay? So the description of the case, when you sit down with the team, understand what needs to be in the documents that you create for your EB-1A, is totally under your control. If you can commit 10 hours a week for the next 5 months, you'll get the job done. Okay? Because you're going to be doing this under my methodology with my team. Okay? And depending on how what's your budget on the case, you can shrink your involvement up to 1 hour a week. So it's anywhere between 10 hours a week for 5 months down to 1 hour a week for the next 5 months. Okay? And also, you're the only one who controls improvement and modification of your case. Okay? Because the articles are not going to write themselves. The PR agencies are not going to hire themselves. Okay? So you're the one to start and execute those things. You're the one to work on your petition with the team, getting it filed, getting it approved with 90 to 95% success chances, and then getting your green card really fast if your EB-2 was approved before April 2021. But even if it was approved later, you're still gonna get it much faster than waiting for your EB-2 to arrive. Lord knows in 2040s, that's my estimate. 2030s is very optimistic, looking at what's going on right now. Okay, 2040s is something that more likely to happen. So the question is not whether I'm gonna get approval in my case or not. The question is, are you ready to take things under your control? That's it. That's the only questions you guys need to ask yourself. And the answer is obvious. The answer is obvious. Okay? And you know the answer. The answer is yes. Now, Stanislav, how do you attach the EB-2 approval that I have, let's say 2019, to EB-1A? Those are two different petitions, two different priority dates. How are you going to reconcile that? What are your promises? What's the idea behind it? So, the idea behind it, that within the immigration law, we as attorneys have the privilege and benefit on your behalf to request USCIS to switch the priority dates between the EB petitions. And note, I said EB without a number. So whatever EB1, EB2, EB3, EB4, EB5 you have approved with the priority dates going really in the future, you can substitute the newly approved EB petitions with the old priority dates. For example, you have you're on H-1B, and granted, you can extend it indefinitely because you have EB-2 approved, and granted, your spouse can finally work on H-4 because of EB-2 approved. That helps a lot, but it doesn't help you with the green card. Okay, so you have 2019, EB-2 approved, and now we're filing EB-1A. If you start working today, I will file your case in December. And if you've done everything that I told you to do, we'll get you approved with 1995 approval chance, which is twice as much than the average in the industry, which is 50%. Thank you, President Biden, for that. Okay, because when Trump was in the president, that approval rate was 65 in the industry. So 100% petitions were filed, 65 of them were approved when president was Trump, and now 50 of them getting approved in the industry, among all attorneys, among all self-petition people. We have it 90 to 95. I don't know other companies who's, I know companies who saying they have 0 denials. I don't believe them. Okay, maybe they filed one case and they got it approved that they have 0 denials. But if you file 300 cases a year, 200 cases a year, 100 cases a year, look, it's impossible. Okay, it's just statistical error. Even if you're perfect, even if everything is perfect, it's within the statistical error that you're gonna get some cases denied. Okay, so because it's subjective, it's subjective. So you guys, the example of 2019 approval for EB-2 and December 2024 approval for your future EB-1A. Once we have it approved, we file a request to USCIS and say, hey, USCIS, this is the law under which we're requesting you to substitute the EB-1A priority date with the EB-2 from 2019. And because the current priority dates for Indians for EB-1A is April 2021, we get the priority date of 2019, whatever that month is, doesn't really matter. That means that a visa is available to us. And that means that we may adjust our status to the green card. And by the way, here is the form I-485 with this request. Please take it, accept it, and approve it. And within 3 to 12 months, bah, voila, magic happens. You guys holding your green card in your hands and smelling the fresh paint of it. And you get your freedom and the future. So what separates most of you from this end result and today's situation is your firm yes to starting this process. That's it. That's all. That's all that separates you from the end result. Okay? Most of you, because someone has EB-2 in 2023 approved, someone needs to maybe work more, yes. But the average of you guys, the Indian people, and we have so many Indian clients right now in this who already said yes to this, that you guys need to wait for another few months when we start popping those cases like crazy with approvals and people with the smiles to the ears because they know they're going to get the green cards very soon. And you could be one of those. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's take a look at the questions. Dusan Petrovic. Respect, I'm from Serbia. Yes, Dusan, we love Serbian clients and love Serbia. Last year I applied for an EB-3 visa. Something with transport. What's Experior, I guess. So something with transport. Okay, it doesn't really matter. How long should I expect the process to take? Okay, Dusan. What exactly you mean under you applied for an EB-3 visa? Do you mean that your employer already filed I-140, the immigration petition, after you got certified by Department of Labor? If that's the case, and I have doubt it's the case, you have the priority date as of the time your employer filed for PERM, for labor certification. So look at the date of your PERM filing and open up the visa bulletin and look at the EB-3 priority date for all the rest of the world, because you are the rest of the world. You're not Indian, you're not Chinese, you're Serbian. So Serbia does not have a separate line to get in. Look at the priority date, and you need to look at the, I don't know which path you took. Is it unskilled employment or skilled employment? If it's unskilled, you are screwed, because it adds up at least 2-3 years to your wait time. If it's a skilled employment, you're probably a little better off, probably 2-3 years wait time from today, probably 2, maybe a year and a half. If you only filed for the prevailing wage, that's the first step in EB-3. Add up another year and a half to whatever math I did before. And let me know, Dusan, if you're still here, let me know what's your situation. Dexpel, thank you for coming live always, my pleasure. Wanted to ask, after docs and are done with your staff, how much time do you take and how soon do we file after every document is complete? So, the classic way to approach that, and the way I prefer over anything else, is when we collect all the documents within the 5 months of working on the case. So I take a month to draft the memorandum. What is memorandum? A memorandum is a legal document where an attorney, a good attorney, by the way, guys, because not all those cases filed with other attorneys get the memorandum, okay? And guys, trust me on that, okay? And you know, I'm an open person. I'm truthful. I never make things up. I respect my my colleagues, but objectively, I get those cases with denials, with RFEs, and probably only 20, maybe 30% of attorney in this industry, they draft the memorandum. Okay? And this is a little sad, because it takes so much work for the immigration officer to understand those cases. And let me show you, guys. Let me show you an example of your case. And Dexpel, let me show you a case. And I mean, of course, it's not your case, but that's how your case is gonna look. So let me, guys, show you. Okay. That's one. That's another, right? So let me, oops. So that's one. That's another, okay? And there's more, because we file cases every day, right? So guess what? Not a single person in the world will be able to go through this. Never, ever. You must have a memorandum, a document that explains what's in this case. Otherwise, the chances go really down, because officer just can't comprehend all this information, find all the information. So it takes me a month to draft that document. And to be more exact, because I know you guys good at math, and you say, oh, Stanislav, in that video you said you have 250 documents, and that video you said that you may file up to 30 cases a month, maybe more. It's impossible to draft all those memoranda, okay? And by the way, the plural for memorandum is memoranda, right? It's an irregular noun. So, and you're right, it's impossible. That's why I draft the memoranda as we go. Okay, so once the team signals to me that, hey, we have all the documents for this criterion completed, okay, bam, I take 20 minutes because I know the case, I know the strategy, I approved all those documents. So it takes me 15-20 minutes to draft the part of memorandum that satisfies this criterion, that describes this criterion from a legal standpoint. So as we go, I draft the parts of memorandum, and when we get to the 6 months, it's more of finalizing that document with all the review stages that we have in the company. Because I have another licensed American attorney also checking on my work, right? You guys know how we approach that. We don't joke. You have 5 to 8 people working on your case, okay? No one is doing this. No one is giving you that much resources to get you the result, okay? So a month is taken to make sure everything is correct. The memorandum is drafted. The designer making the case beautiful, putting the pictures and everything, and then a few people check through everything, all the attachments, all the translations and stuff like this. So once we're done, that's what you guys looking at. 1,000+ pages in the case, 1,000+. And trust me, guys, the more we do this work, and we've been doing this for 10 years, almost 10 years, the bigger the cases become. Okay, they don't become smaller, they become only bigger, like this. All right, so that's what you're looking at the end of the 6th month of the case. That's the case that is going to USCIS. The expel. Secondly, in September, the green cards renew. Yeah, the quota, the limit renews. In October, actually, end of September, the October. I know USCIS would rather give a less stronger cases, I would rather say, rather than sending green cards to EB-2. Yes, this is correct. When should we file EB-1A to get advantage of this pool of green cards end of August? Yeah, I think end of August, the beginning of September is the ideal time. So anywhere from end of August up until mid-September is probably the ideal time, because remember, we may get an RFE. And if it's a bad RFE, we still have time to withdraw and refile. Okay? So yeah, and guys, those of you who's like, what's going on here? Why are we talking about September and October? In short, the fiscal year for the immigration services, USCIS, ends up in September. So September 30th to October 1st is the time when the new visa quotas, visa numbers are injected in the system. Which means that those visas that were for the prior year, if they're not distributed to the approvals of EB1, it's EB1A, EB1B, EB1C, but that's usually the case. That's usually the case, with rare exceptions. Like last year, it was one of the exceptions when they used the limits, the number of the EB1As. But usually they don't. So whatever thousands of green cards that have not yet been distributed to EB1 approvals need to re-roll to EB-2. Okay, and because from the standpoint of USCIS, the EB-1A cases are stronger and more qualified than EB-2 and EB-3 and whatever, they are willing to give approvals to less stronger cases rather than re-rolling those green cards to EB-2. So that's why your chances a little bit, but are higher in September. I mean, we get approvals any month of the year, guys. Don't get confused. Like, it's not that we're starting. For you to file in September, you need to start in February, okay? But we're getting approvals every single week. Every single week we're getting approvals, meaning that we file every time. Jagnom, hi. I'm thinking to move to US from UK to a truck driving job. How can I make sure that I can get work permit and green card? For this position, Jagna, the only way is to get EB-3. EB-3, I'm not sure if UK is a part of H-1B program, because I don't do H-2B. I've done them. I've done a couple of them, but I don't do them on a regular basis, so they go by country. So maybe H-2B is a seasonal worker. They have a limit, and those limits go fast in the beginning of January. So that's the way to go, provided you have an employer. And as to the green card, you need to go with EB-3. How much is it going to cost me, and is there ways to pay 3-time payment or 2-time? Yes, the payments is not a problem. The difficulty here indeed is the employer who will ready to go with you through this whole process on H-2B or EB-3. Okay, so that's the real difficulty. That's the real difficulty. Dexpel, now working with you. Yes, Dexpel, yes, I'm aware of this. I see the value you add. Resources working with your clients is amazing. The charges seem less now. Honestly, I mean, that's still difficult to manage, but I appreciate the value. Thank you, Dexpel. I appreciate your kind words. And guys, this is the current client who's working with us, and that's basically the feedback. And of course, guys, it's not a stroll in the park, okay? Don't get confused between Stanislav telling you that we will satisfy the criteria and how we're gonna do this with the amount of work that you have to put in this. Those are two different things. Okay, because I will give you the strategy, I will tell you exactly what to do and how to do it. I will give you the team who is going to be working with you on the evidence, but you have to do the work. Okay, unless you go with the premium offer where we do the work for you, but you still have to put 20 hours of your time within 5 months, which is about 1 hour a week if you spread it, but because you need to provide us all information in the beginning, first 2 months, maybe 3, that's probably 2-3 hours of your work, providing us with the necessary information and explanation. And of course, the price for this is much higher as opposed to when you do it yourself, which is all possible, because that's how we started, that's how we've been doing, and that's how we're doing most of our cases. What the clients do all the work, and we just review and guide and control and advise and provide the resources. So yeah, Dexpel, thank you for the feedback, because with the way it could be perceived negatively, certain parts of the process, there's almost no way to get rid of them, but there is a way to make them less painful. Okay, so guys, my work is not to do the work for you. My work is to guide you and make it less painful. Okay, less stressful. It's gonna be painful and it's gonna be stressful. Okay, the amount, the level of that pain and stress, there's a bunch of factors involved here. But you're gonna enjoy it every single minute, and you're gonna be grateful for that for the rest of your life. Danya, hello. My friend is from Pakistan and the company is giving him H-1B. Okay, he's on B1, B2. Can he change the status? Absolutely. For H-1B, or will he wait for lottery after offer and then do consular processing? Look, Danya, if he already have H-1B approved, because I'm not sure what you're putting behind the word giving. And guys, by the way, it's going to be the last questions because I need to have a lunch. But I'll have a few more things to add to today's conversation. So Daniel, I'm not sure if what you mean by giving is that it's been approved. The guy was selected and they filed I-29 and got approved, right? So yes, that means that he can change the status, but I believe not earlier than September. Okay, because that's the earliest a person on freshly issued H-1B can come to the US, September 1st. So he needs to stay in the status, legal status, up until September, when a change of status needs to be filed. And by the way, I said it wrong, guys. I take it back. Why 129? You need to file the change of status along with 129 and request your change of status for September 1st. So don't worry about the methodology, the technique, but it's possible, okay? As long as we can stay in the legal status till September the 1st. If the second, and Daniel, you're clarifying, yes, if they're giving him a job offer, that means nothing. Okay, that means nothing. Why? Because between the job offer and the visa or change of status is the lottery, which happens once a year in March, winning that lottery and filing I-129 with the supplement. So the biggest difficulty is the first step, being selected in lottery, because it's only 20, 25, maybe 30%, provided there is no cheating and fraud, like it was 2 years ago. Remember, when H-1B, they filed like 800,000 petitions with the same people, like one person could get like 5-7 petitions from different companies. So more chances. They fixed it. People went to jail for this too, and paid a lot of money. The corporate America, I mean. So now it's better, but still, you compete with all those H-1Bs. So, and that's too far remote from today. So that he needs to either go back to Pakistan and live his life and go through the process and everything, or switch to other type of visa. Maybe O1, Daniel. O1 is the substitute for H-1B with a lot less limitations. Okay? All right, guys. So for those of you who said yes and firm yes on H-1B, ready to go with the talent visa, I'm gonna drop you a questionnaire, the link to the questionnaire for those of you guys who are ready to go, okay? And all you need to do is to fill out that questionnaire, and within 2 days I will get back to you with a free analysis, with a free evaluation of the case, okay? And you gotta do it now. Don't wait till weekend, do it now. Here is the link, and go ahead and click on it and answer all the questions that I gave for you, that I created. And I will let you know if you have a potential. And if you do, I will invite you to the complex immigration planning. And after that, if everything is good and you have your written strategy, we're gonna start your case, okay? So guys, thank you for your involvement. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for your time. It's the most valuable thing in the world. And get the free evaluation, start your cases, and I wish good luck to you. And remember, your future begins here. Good luck.